3, 2, 1.
What's up everyone, Dan here, Crypto Capital Venture, July 10th, 2018, a Litecoin video. I'm doing a Litecoin video. I know it's been a few days. Y'all are probably like, did you sell out of Litecoin? Are you all in Bitcoin? I've been following Bitcoin a little bit more closely lately just because when forming a bottom, I feel like usually in those times, Bitcoin is definitely going to be king. I know most of you probably out there are just like, Bitcoin's king anyway, dude. But I have this belief that I've talked about before on this channel that eventually Litecoin will not always follow Bitcoin. And it does that sometimes anyway. Typically not in a bottoming out area, but usually in uptrends, you'll see Litecoin kind of make different moves than Bitcoin every once in a while. So I'm always keeping an eye out for that to happen. But I've been following Bitcoin right now because really, in the whole markets, Bitcoin is king in determining where the bottom is going to be. That's just kind of the name of the game right now. So I wanted to talk about in this video Litecoin though, and what Litecoin is doing right now. So let's jump into the daily on Litecoin, and you can see it here. We've talked about previously the stock RSI when we were up around this 100 area. We talked about it coming down, and we probably actually did that video right around at the top there at July 2nd. I think it was probably around when we hit the $90 area. You have that wick in the $90 area. But we talked about the stock RSI coming back down and leveling out, just because over the last, even couple years, anytime the daily is that high, it's probably going to level out and come back down, if not even just to the 80 level. It doesn't mean we have to go all the way back down into an oversold area. That doesn't have to happen, although it's a scenario and it's always in play. But I want to talk about right now where we are. Obviously, it's a down day. Nobody's feeling good about that. So here you see it. There's the daily candle. Here's this little retracement back down we've had. What will we call this? On the price range from that high 3 days ago to the low today. I mean, 13% or so in the last 3 days. Right now, what is good in terms of this current daily candle is you see a little bit of a momentum trying to push us back up. You have this wick down to, where was that? Right around $74. Very, very critical area. As you know, we have these previous daily closes, like around June 28th. We had a close in the 74 area. That's a low that we need to focus on. So it's a low that we're going to focus on as support, and there's that orange line. So really this channel right here is extremely important. And before we leave the daily, what I will point out to you is this second bottom that we had back in end of March or April area. So we had that second bottom, and this kind of is the first time you see a little bit of a similarity in terms of what Litecoin's doing and what it's been doing on this downtrend, right? We've had these little pullbacks up, and then a downtrend, and then a pullback up, downtrend. Right now, what you see in Litecoin over the last couple weeks or so, and this was a couple weeks long actually back here at this second bottom, is you kind of see this sideways channel. You don't see so much of a wedge back up and down like that. You see kind of a sideways channel with heavy resistance and support in two key areas, similar to what we had back there. So let's kind of look at what that looks like on the 4 hour. So on the 4 hour, we're really kind of, and I have this very small little box, and you can see it, this orange box, because to me, this is like 2 days worth of trading right here in this orange box. And this is I feel like this next couple of days is extremely important for us. I know it feels like every day we're tracking things and we're looking closely to see a big move. But right now, when we are so close to these incredibly important support areas, right? The $74 area, when we're so close to there, it's extremely important that we get a bounce off of this line. Very, very important. We don't want to close and form a new low. Even if it's slightly below $74, we don't want that to happen. So right now, over the next couple of days, what I'm looking for is a bounce back up. And typically a bounce back up to even solidify this bottom even more would look like, we can take a price range and we can actually, if we want, we can go back to the second bottom, and let's see that final push back up out of that bottom. What was that green 4 hour? It was a 7% or so candle. So in terms of a bounce back up, I don't know when it would happen. I'm looking for it to happen in the next couple days. We would look for similar type of green 4 hour type of rally to kind of lead us out of these trenches that we're in right now. Everything that I'm saying right now is based on historical data. It's the closest thing you can get to a prediction and looking at the future is by looking at the past. And typically that's what we see in these bottoms. We're not going to see, I don't think, at least in my opinion, we're not going to see, just a 20% rally in a 4 hour candle out of these trenches. I think it will be a slow, and I think it'll start with a nice, probably 1 hour, 2 hour candle, right? 7%, maybe 10%, getting out of here, trading sideways, and then starting to create new higher highs and higher lows. That's what I'm looking at. But right now, I really wanted to do this video because we're here. We're in this area with $76, and we can break. This could happen tonight. It could happen tomorrow. So really, we want to look for two things happening in the next couple of days. We're going to break up or we're going to break down. I don't think we'll trade sideways at $76 for the next 48 hours. I could be wrong, and maybe we'll trade sideways at $76 for the next week, but I don't think that's going to happen. So what I'm saying is look at supports at the $74 area. I do want to take a quick look at Bitcoin because I talked about earlier in a Bitcoin video about a reverse head and shoulders in play, and that plays into the Litecoin charts in forming this bottom right now at $74 or so and getting that bounce that we want on Litecoin. Bitcoin, and actually I'm back in 2015, and I'll just do this right now. Let's look at this. This is always good to do is kind of scroll across the chart nice and slow and just look at this progression in Bitcoin. And then ask yourself, after you see that picture being painted on the screen, you can ask yourself, is it that bad right now? Most likely it's worse for the people that kind of started getting in this area. And I get that, and it makes sense. And maybe in a couple years or a few years, if you got into that in this area, you'll be kind of in the mindset of, up here and zooming out on the charts and remembering your time in this area. And now you've seen some gains in a few years from now. Similar to how people back here were not feeling very good at a $600 Bitcoin, buying in there and kind of going down to $200. It's all part of the story, right? It's all part of experience. And I'm going off on a tangent now. Forgive me. Let's go over to the Bitcoin daily, which is what I wanted to take a quick glance at. So we're on the daily, and really what I talked about in the video was similar to what I talked about the other day in the video, which is this reverse head and shoulders possibly in play right now. So similar to Litecoin needing to find its bottom and find its support at around $74, 75, 76, we want to see Bitcoin find its support in this area right here, which is basically like 6,100 to 6,300. One thing I do want to point out to end this video is if Bitcoin goes down a little bit more and finds its support there, and we actually get a bullish bounce off there to maybe even confirm this reverse head and shoulders there, it is possible that Litecoin will kind of go through this 74 area, and it might actually create a new low. It's a scenario we don't want to happen. We would rather have the reverse head and shoulders on Bitcoin as well as a formed bottom above $74 on Litecoin. But I just want to throw it out there. Litecoin doesn't follow Bitcoin perfectly, and obviously their supports aren't always synergistic. So $74 support on Litecoin doesn't have to be perfectly synergistic with a reverse head and shoulders support on Bitcoin. So let's see what happens. We can only track it right now, but those are my thoughts. That's what I'm looking for. And then lastly, one thing I did want to point out on the 4 hour was something I kind of already talked about, but continue watching just this area that we've been in, because it really does have a lot of the same essence as does this previous second bottom that Litecoin has. So continue watching that. We can look at on the 4 hour, right at the $81 mark. That's the 50 EMA. We can look at that as the first area of resistance to break through to really start forming this bottom. We talked about it back here on July 2nd. We did get above it. We did not stay above it. So let's see what can happen. Let's see what will happen. Hang in there, everybody. Follow me on Twitter. If you're not following me, I try and post regularly on there, updates and all that good stuff. But I really appreciate you watching. Thank you so much. And I will see you in the next video. God bless.